how is written and visual language used in the newspaper article and the letter to attempt to persuade readers to share the points of view presented in them. Background information. Vector,
Okay. Interesting.
Was published in the opinion pages of daily newspaper. Dr. Peter Lakis wrote a letter to the editor with the title Off the Planet. This was later published. Both pieces are reprinted in full on pages 12 and 13.
Alright, so can someone get out that ugly acronym that we got with the practice sack? Can you tell me what that is?
Form, content.
Alright, so we're going to do this together. Form, content, contention,
Purpose and positioning.
purpose and positioning,
Issue and
issue and
implications.
what?
Implications.
Implications.
Argument.
Yeah.
Author.
Yeah.
Audience.
Audience.
Language features.
Yeah.
Stakeholders.
Yeah.
Style.
Yeah.
And
Alright, so copy that on the front of your sheet and we'll refer back to it. You can see that, right?
yeah, we can.
You see the point of the idea? Cool.
This is kind of cool.
So, first question, why? We'll call that the first person, PL. So the first one is an opinion piece, the second one is a letter. Get the idea? Letter to the LTTE. Yeah?
Yeah, that's correct.
My bad. Yeah. The content is, we don't know yet because we haven't read it. But purpose and positioning, let's see, persuade maybe. Probably the same. We'll kind of add detail once we know what's going on more so. Argument we don't know yet. Author is Vet Jurgens. The other one is Peter Lakis. Audience, we're not sure yet. Language features, we don't know, we haven't read it yet. Stakeholders, style, tone, we don't know yet. Make sense? No? Okay. And what else? Importantly, it tells us we've got a prompt, so we need to talk about written and visual language, that's important. And attempt to persuade.
What's the last thing you wrote? Oh, tone.
Tone. Sweet. Let's start doing it. If you miss it, we'll go back to this page and kind of add what we know once we know it. Put it in there.
About the picture.
Like, can you do the thing paragraph and then what paragraph about the picture?
Feel like, yeah, structure's really up to you based on what they present you with. All right. Alrighty, so copy me. Let's do it. It kind of sucks. The focus sucks. All right, let's do it. So space. Well, exploring our dreams. So we're guessing that's like maybe a motif. Vet Jurgen. Just copy me, yeah? With your highlighter, let's go. So, space. We ready? Space is not as far away as you might think. That's the one. Not really. Is that better? But that's too close, right?
What's the first thing you said?
Inclusive language.
Yeah, I know, that's because it's on this limp thing. Alright, bear with me. If you live in Victoria, you are closer, so inclusive straight off the bat. You are closer to space than you are to Canberra. What would you call that? I don't know, evidence or something? Repetition, you can't actually see that. Space exploration has been on my mind this week after visiting an exhibition. Alright, let's fix it. Evidence, repetition. Yes, Daniel.
When you said the Victoria is closer to space, you said evidence is something else. What's the other?
Maybe repetition because it keeps saying you.
Oh, negative.
I don't know. It'll get there. Space exploration has been on my mind this week after visiting an exhibition presented by an international group known as Columbus 21. So that's anecdote, personal story. This is a group of influential thinkers who have been urging governments across the globe to pool resources and collaborate on further space exploration in the 21st century. Ismet, you can't be here talking over it. Us. Expert opinion? What do you mean? Ismet, Gorkum. You gotta be shush, you gotta go.
Wait, where's the expert opinion?
The influential thinkers urging government across the globe. It's pretty vague, but it's sort of there. So touring the exhibition reminded me how inspiring exploration can be. Ismet, that's a strike, I'm just going to keep going. Sure, let's say that's one of our core arguments, probably. It seems to be in our nature to dream about what's beyond the world we know. Lucas Gorkum, that's a strike each. Shush, do this with us or don't be here. That's the choice. And setting out to explore the unknown is the biggest thing we do. The great explorer Christopher Columbus set off in a wooden ship powered by nothing but wind and with only his own skill and courage and the stars to guide him. That's pretty inspiring. So that's anecdote and expert and traditional values. It's just a story. I mean, yeah. We'll call it an anecdote though. So, anecdote, expert opinion, traditional values, that's pretty inspiring. What's that? Any thoughts? No, not really. We don't want to go too close. Most of us rightly admire the bravery of astronauts who, so most of us, inclusive language, the bravery of astronauts who 6 centuries later, have taken the risk of exploring beyond Earth and have given us such a different perspective on the beautiful blue planet we call home. Sure. Patriotism, like to Earth or something, which is weird, but yeah. But to get governments interested in spending the huge amount of money we need for space exploration, there must be more to it than the thrill of discovery. Alliteration, you saying?
Where?
But to get is like money, and inclusive is still.
How is that alliteration if it's not repeating the same thing? Isn't it a beautiful couple?
Beautiful blue, alliteration. Yeah, it is, yeah. Alright, perhaps there's a new mining boom waiting to happen in space with people looking for more of the minerals we know well and maybe some we haven't dreamed of yet. I don't know, so this is like their hypothetical thing that might happen. I don't know, that's not a technique, but that's just what they're doing. Evidently, there are virtually unlimited resources out there for the taking because nobody owns them. A company recently set out to claim ownership of an asteroid, surprising the United Nations because there are no laws about ownership in space. I don't know, evidence? Evidently makes us like, tone of evidently is what? Formal, maybe? It's easy to understand why someone might want to own one of these lifeless rocks, is it? So that seems a bit strange. of a statement. An asteroid with the unromantic name.
Evident. Why do you search for evident? Sorry.
It's like very formal tone, very like academic. An asteroid with the unromantic name 1986 DA suddenly became more interesting when scientists reported that it contains about 10,000 tons of gold and 10 times that much platinum to the value of about $1 trillion. Is that what? Yep.
It's sarcasm. It's easy to understand why someone might want to own one of these life as well.
And then I would say unromantic as well. Is sarcastic tone. So hip pocket nerve, evidence, statistics, all that stuff. Unfortunately, this one is quite a long way off, about 32 kilometers, but that doesn't seem to dampen anyone's enthusiasm. So that sounds sarcastic to me too. Like she's being very blasé about it. Well, okay, it might be only a dream right now, said one young exhibition guide, gazing up at some spectacular star images, but one day it will come true. We've got to find answers to our problem to protect the future of life on Earth. That means taking risks and encountering the unexpected, but good things always come out of that. I don't know, what's that? Thoughts, feelings? Dialogue anecdote, I guess. Columbus certainly encountered the unexpected. He expected to sail through to India and bumped into North and South America instead. And I agree that good things can come from exploring the unknown. A lot of the valuable products available to us now are the direct result of research associated with space programs of the last decades. Benefits that nobody predicted at that time. Let's see. What do we call that? Repetition.
Just quickly, what's that word say under statistics? Does it say glaze?
Blasé. It just means like relaxed, no big deal. So she is partly saying like this is a big deal, but then she's like with the unromantic name of and doesn't seem to dampen their enthusiasm and lifeless rock. So she's like being excited, but then being like too cool for it, sort of.
What was the thing on the side that you just saw?
Repetition. I don't know.
Where?
Mm-hmm.
Where's repetition?
Just Columbus coming through again. Exploring the unknown is like her title, so that's repeated. All right, Columbus 21 talks a lot about international cooperation. This hasn't always been a feature of space or exploration. But now that we have an international space station supported by 15 nations, the era of collaboration seems to be well established. If there was ever a good time to turn more of the unknown, so again, repetition, unknown goes throughout. Columbus 21 is our core evidence. International cooperation is the key. This is like a back then and a now. Yeah? Something like that. And then, what do we got on the back? So we keep going. We got lots of pictures. So, into useful knowledge, it might be now. There's like a call to action. It might be now. There's a strong view that it's time to inspire the next generation of scientists. Every government knows we've got to do that, just as we've got to invest in the next generation of technology. This is kind of focusing on the future. Call to action. So like we did at the oral presentation at the start of the year, you meant to say like after your speech, now we should all go out there and, whatever, beat up a man. We should go out and vote for Labor. We should, whatever you said we should do. That's where the answers to our problems are really going to come from. So that's a nice easy solution. So you can see like, it's not just looking for techniques, you're just kind of writing down whatever comes into your head and then you'll turn that into like an analysis later. And the name of the group, I asked the guide at the end of the tour, is it in honor of Columbus? Partly, he smiled. It also means dove. Does that make sense to anyone? No? The name of the group, what is the name of the group they're talking about?
Is that the Columbus thing?
Oh yeah, I guess the Columbus 21, which is definitely made up, but anyway. The international symbol of peace, I could see the point. So this is like their motif of peace in the UN and things like that. I could see the point. It is important to recharge our scientific batteries and get the next big thing going in space exploration. Possibly a voyage to Mars, but it must be done for the whole planet and for peaceful reasons. Perhaps with big dreamers like Columbus 21 behind it, it might even turn out that way. Alright, so just quickly we'll look at the image. Astronaut. It's not actually specific, but we're guessing that these things like were invented as a result of this technology. Maybe, which fits with their argument that we don't know what it could make, maybe. But they haven't actually referenced any of these things in the article, so that's kind of worth mentioning. Cool, makes sense. Then let's move on to the next one. Off the planet. Thanks, Yvette Jurgen. So what do we remember? What's the form? So this is a letter to the editor. Okay. So we need to keep that in the forefront of our mind. Off the planet. What's the other one called? Exploring our dreams versus off the planet. So thanks, Yvette Jurgen. So we're starting nice and polite. For drawing our attention to the next big thing. It's obviously sarcastic, we're guessing. Yeah? Or ironic, whatever you want to. Letter to the editor. For a while there, we were wasting our time thinking about little issues like hunger and disease and the environment. So, okay, we're hitting the sarcastic mark very strongly here. But no, let's spend a few trillions more on the illusion that we can solve our problems by leaving Earth and finding somewhere better. Yeah. Lots of arrows. Attack, yeah, sure. Wake up, Yvette. Nice attack, very personal, very offensive. When did our governments, kings or emperors ever fund exploration for peaceful purposes or the good of the world? Lame rhetorical question. We could probably say very pessimistic as well, like you're saying no one's ever going to do anything good. The voyages of Columbus were powered more by greed than by wind. It's a nice, sounds like a cliche, but it's not because I've just made it up, but anyway, I'll write that. The dreams involved were of more and more wealth, repetition, dollar, What? What? Voila. Hip pocket, okay, yeah. Seems like nothing much has changed. Reality is, we don't have to go into space looking for lifeless rocks. Okay, so that's like the same phrase she used, so it's almost like a quote. We just have to make sure that our infinitely precious blue planet doesn't turn into one. So they're saying Earth could become a lifeless rock.
Is it appeal to fear?
Definitely, yeah. Appeal to fear and insecurity. You know what I find truly inspiring? Rhetorical question again. The idea of getting all the government in the world to agree, working together on our real problems, one by one, step by step, until they are solved. So nice repetition. And this is like clearly their alternative to the other person. Okay, that might be only a dream right now, but at least it's a dream worth pursuing. So that's their call to action. And we notice he's a doctor, so obviously you'd put that as they're positioning themselves as an expert and the audience as not experts. Cool, so then we'll go back to the front page. Actually, just quickly, if we go to the last page, that's why it's there. What we're doing is section C. So you can see a slight difference between, this is their rubric. You can see a slight difference between it and the one we use. So there are 3 criteria: understands the argument, analyzes techniques, and writes well. So theirs is subtly different to ours.
We have to go by this criteria.
Hey?
Are we going by this criteria?
For this one, we're going by the one we use because it's better for feedback, basically. Whereas, like, if I just gave you a mark and said that was a 5, you'd be like, cool, what should I work on? I'm like, get higher than 5. Whereas the one you've got is a lot more specific, you know what I mean? No, there isn't actually one. It's just those things and they give you a score. Alright, Meg, what's the form, opinion, blah, blah, blah? What's the context? What does it tell us about this? Because the watermelon one had context as well, but for some reason not on the photocopy you got, so my bad on that one. So the context is the opinion piece came first and this bit came second. So you need to explain that when you talk about it. Like this came first, this came second. Purpose and positioning, second one positions them as like learners or uninformed, whereas the first one positions them as like dreamers or something like that. What would you say? How does it position us, the first one? Good, just me on this one. So second one, it's like explaining things, being really sarcastic. Maybe the first one's being playful and the second one's being more sarcastic and biting. Issues and implications. First one is saying go to space. Second one's going don't, basically. Argument is for space, argument is against. They don't often give you like a clear for and against because that kind of makes it too easy, which is why the watermelon ones, they were both from the same viewpoint, just a slightly different way. And the 2015 one is two people saying very similar things on the same side. Audience, for the first one, they're the same people, so readers, and then we'll break that down in more detail later. And the second one is readers of the article. Cool. Language features, I just off the top of my head, statistics. What else? Lots of anecdotes. Sarcasm. Maybe I'm going to say playful because the first one's more positive, whereas the other one's more negative, sarcastic, rhetorical question.
Wouldn't playful be more of a term?
Yeah, it is.
And they use lots of inclusive language in the first one.
Yeah. Can't read that at all. That sucks. Rhetorical question, sarcastic, harsh. Pardon? Yeah, let's get there. Stakeholders would be government, young people, old people. The UN is mentioned, space programs, things like that. The style of the first one was, what were you saying?
Not really. I didn't think it was formal.
Okay, let's say that. That's a pretty good binary. You either say formal or informal, and the other one was also informal, I guess. Here, is that the idea? Other one's informal too. And then style we can talk about later.
I was trying to make it like simple for her and dumbing it down to make it look like superior.
Cool. Superior. And the other one was more equal. Alright, so tone we've already talked about. The first one was, what do we got? Optimistic. What other words can we do? Okay. I was saying playful. Sure. Second one, obviously, if the other one's optimistic, this one's pessimistic. And harsh, angry, aggressive, like, those sort of things. Sarcastic, yeah. The first one, what else can we talk about? What other tone is used?
Issues and complications.
Issues and implications is like what might happen. So the space one is saying we should go to space, which might mean more things. And the other one's saying we shouldn't go to space, which might mean poverty is fixed and that sort of stuff. Cool. All good. Alright, that's it. The rest is kind of up to you. So, that's how I would do it. Now, you need to essay yourself, or maybe copy that if you don't have it. I'll find a better solution. Alright, I'm going to use 2015 as well, so you're overwhelmed with paper, as is my way.
Spoiling us.
I don't know if that's the right word. Spoiling your holidays, maybe. I know that's spoiling it. This 2015, we're not going to do it now, but you just need a copy. We might do what we just did for that one tomorrow. So you've got everything you need, so we just go out and do it. Get serious. Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you magically get it done beforehand.
I will.
It's possible. You've already done the watermelon, so that's good.
I'm gonna close this.